Welcome back. More than 2,000 people attended Mitchell Lundgaard's funeral service at Appleton Alliance Church last Monday. And 4 of his closest friends, most of them firefighters themselves, told stories about their relationship with Mitch Lundgaard. Here now a sample of those eulogies which drew laughs and tears in the sanctuary.
Today we say goodbye to Mitchell Frank Lundgaard, just a couple months shy of his 37th birthday. We know Mitch as the son of Jim and Marlene, also Bob and Jill, who all loved him dearly. Husband to his high school sweetheart, Lindsay, and father to the sweetest boys, Evan, Logan, and Ryan. He was also a great brother to all his siblings. Born and raised in Green Bay, Wisconsin, Mitch was a huge Packer, Bucks, and Brewers fan. Never missed any games. He was my best friend. He was my golfing buddy. And believe it or not, he was my workout buddy. In college, Mitch loved the ab roller. The wheel, you sit on your knees and you go back and forth so he could get abs of steel. I'd sit on the couch and cheer him on. One day, Mitch thought I should get into the act, and I tried the ab roller. I couldn't do one. So there was an infomercial for the ab shocking belt, and I bought it so I could work out with Mitch. So when Mitch was doing his ab rolls, I was on the couch, taking it. But that's why we love being together. Mitch was a hell of a guy. He's the most caring, giving, honorable person you could ask to be a friend. He went by Mitchie, Machacho, Bud, and Woody. The guy was an athlete. He could play sports. Lightning quick, incredible tenacity, excelling in soccer, basketball, golf, tennis, Polish horseshoes, cornhole, you name it, he was great at it. Actually, I take that back. We're in church. I can't lie. He had a lousy short game. He could hit the ball on a par 5, 500 yards in 2 shots. Unfortunately, it would take him 4 more shots to get it the last 20 feet. That was your weak spot. I told you that. Just got to bump and run it. With that said, we know what he was truly great at. He was a great husband, and most importantly, he was a great dad.
Mitch was kind enough to include a group of us from the fire department into a tradition he had with his high school friends. It was a golf outing known as the Whiz Open. It was 18 holes of golf, followed by a cookout, and maybe just a few pops drank along the way. Now at the cookout, there was a beanbag tournament of sorts going on, and Mitch and I became partners. Now there was a player on the other team that was very confident. He made sure to tell us he'd played over 40 games of beanbags and never lost a single time. Now the game ended up going pretty one-sided in our favor, and as Mitch drained the final beanbag to seal the victory, you could practically see the color draining from this guy's face. And with that little cocky sideways grin that Mitch always had, he just turns to the guy and says, "Don't feel bad. 40-1 is still a pretty good record." Cool, confident, and quick with a joke. That was Mitch.
So even though I was initially skeptical of Mitch, he quickly grew on me and somehow weaseled his way into my heart as my friend. If I recall, it started more as me being the third wheel of JB and Mitch's bromance. And then we dragged Adam into the fold to join us in our shenanigans as well. I will always cherish the fun times that we had, going to Brewer games, going to Country USA together, trips to Cheryl's cottage in Door County. Thank you, Cheryl. Appreciate it. Vacations, hanging out at the Countryside Bar, crashing Wiz's annual golf outing, and the countless nights that we went to each other's houses to have dinner and just hang out. Much to our wives' disapproval, we often talk shop, as every firefighter that I've ever met loves to do. But it was okay to just sit in silence next to each other in one of our living rooms while we watched the Brewers games. To me, I enjoyed either version of this time spent together. As Mitch's friend, you had to be ready for anything. As I stated before, Mitch was very smart, but with that, he was quick-witted. Always up for a good debate and seemed to enjoy picking a fight and walking away with that smirk, knowing that he had already won the fight because he was very good at getting you angry, but somehow always keeping his cool. Most of the time, these fights that I refer to were figurative and of the tongue variety, but sometimes they were literal fights that he handled the exact same way. The best example of this that I can recall is the time that a large group of us went to Madison to watch the Badgers game. I don't believe that we lasted one whole period as the game seemed to be interfering with our opportunity to day drink away from our wives. So we left the game and descended on the Madison bars with a mission of decompressing and making sure that none of the beer in Madison would reach its expiration date. It was during this honorable mission where I was made aware of an altercation happening in the bathroom. Mitch was utilizing his quick wit to start up a spirited debate with another patron in the men's room. So trying to be a good friend and following the bro code, JB and myself crashed into the bathroom ready to bring supporting arguments to Mitch's points. After some pushing and shoving to drive those points home, the debate ended just about as quickly as it started. What was most interesting about this event, though, was as the dust settled and I looked around the bathroom, Mitch was nowhere to be found. He was already back out at the bar drinking his beer with that damn smirk on his face.
My relationship with Mitch has been that of him being my little brother. He would pester me constantly. Mitch used to tell me I looked fat because I was so short. Then I would tell him his weird-looking nose really creeped me out. Early in our relationship, I constantly lied to Mitch. Mitch would tell me he was getting off shift and going for a run or workout. That really annoyed me. He sometimes would ask if I wanted to join him. I would always tell him that I was going to work out too, but I like doing my own thing. He would say, okay, and went on his way, and I ended up walking to McDonald's. Looking back on it, I think he always knew. Follow-up, as our guys know, Mitch made amazing brownies. Mitch taught me that a man growing up in the United States of America could be proud of playing soccer. I truly did not know that was a thing until I met Mitch. Sorry, buddies. I will have you know, he did score the winning goal of his high school homecoming game. Mitch also taught me that a grown man can be infatuated with Disney World. I also did not know that was a thing. Side note, this just hit me as I stand here drinking this extremely warm beer. To all the current fire chiefs in the attendance today, due to the number of guidelines and policies that I've clearly ignored this week, there is a small chance that I will be unemployed here in the very near future. All right, hang on. So, if any of your departments are currently in need of a 40-year-old firefighter who is broken both physically and emotionally, please do not hesitate to see me after the service. I'm almost done. Mitch's family and friends, here we go. I want to thank you for carrying me through the last few days. If it wasn't for you, I would not be standing here today.
And the community remains in mourning this weekend. When we come back, we'll talk with a reporter with deep ties in the Fox cities who describe what it was like to cover this tragedy. Stay with us.